on behalf of the executive team and really the entire CalPERS organization, we'd like to thank Mr. Jones for his leadership and his service to CalPERS over the last 14 years. I appreciated Ms. Taylor's comments. I certainly appreciated Mr. Jones's comments about, what the last 14 years, his contributions, what he was paying attention to, and really what he was most proud of, and that was serving the 2 million members, not just the retirees who vote for the election in that seat, but his responsibility to serve all 2 million members of the system. And just on a personal note, I just say that it's been a real joy working with Henry for the 5 years that I've been here as well. I think he's been a really good partner to me, been a good partner to the organization, and we wish him all the best in health, as well as, we know he's not really going to retire. He's much too busy and needs that intellectual outlet. So hope to see him again very, very soon. Next, I'd like to just build on a few comments that were made about Black History Month and our focus on healthcare. As a pension fund that's serving 2 million members and also being the second largest health purchaser, CalPERS has a responsibility to acknowledge when inequities exist, when we see them, and I believe we also have an obligation to take action on the data that's coming our way. Healthcare is certainly one of the areas where we can have pretty significant impact. The pandemic has highlighted disparities that exist for Black members and other minority groups in the health system. You heard in last month's board education that we're working with Covered California, as well as the Department of Managed Healthcare, and that those initiatives are really to enhance access to care, at least for the 1.2 million covered lives that we have in our plans. This would and should heighten our ability to negotiate with our own health plans to ensure our members can receive the specific kind of care that they need to improve health outcomes. It's a good first step, and we know there's more work yet to be done. We've also seen the difference that our diversity, equity, inclusion, or DEI work can have on our own culture here at CalPERS, our workforce, our customer service, and really the experience that our members have with our team, as well as the health and the pension programs that we provide to all of our members, as well as to their families. Black History Month is a time to learn about, as well as to celebrate the accomplishments to fellow Americans who overcame adversity. And it reminds us of the opportunities we have to evaluate our own work to this end. It is work that requires openness and accountability, which happen to be two of our CalPERS core values. On that note, I'm also happy to announce that our annual commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion report is now posted online on our public website. It showcases the workplace demographics and highlights the work being done by a number of people here in the organization on the key initiatives out of our DEI framework, which focus on culture, talent management, health equity, supplier diversity, and of course, investments. In the coming year, we will develop DEI measures, benchmarks, and initiatives that will be reflected in our 2022 through 2027 strategic plan, which you will hear about a little bit later. Just a moment. All right, so now on to some investment performance. To this month's agenda, yesterday's meetings, as well as this morning's meeting. Earlier today, you did receive an update on our total fund investment performance that shows a calendar year return of 13.3%, which is about 120 bits or basis points above the benchmark, the relative benchmark. That's attributable to the key factors that were certainly discussed with you by your independent investment consultants, as well as from our investment team. Next month, we'll begin the implementation of the new strategic asset allocation that was adopted by all of you just last November. And we will have a series of items coming through the investment committee starting in March. And that does bring me to the presentation of the next 5-year strategic plan. You'll receive a first reading later in this agenda, just in a very short period of time from now. And just to give you a bit of background, our teams have engaged with a number of stakeholders to gather their input, their comments, their perspective on where they see opportunities, where they see risks for CalPERS in the next 5 years. We were able to take all of that feedback, including feedback done from a direct session with the board about your perspective and what you see as the key strategic threats, opportunities, weaknesses, and what you want to see the organization move more toward in the next 5 years. Again, all that data was collected, it was summarized and validated over the last few months. And then that feedback was taken to develop our high-level strategic goals, the objectives, as well as how we will measure our success in implementing those strategies. Sabrina Hutchins of our Enterprise Strategy and Performance Division will present the details of that plan here just shortly. If approved, again, this is an information item today, but if approved, the new strategic plan would go into effect on July 1. And then just quickly before I conclude, I'd like to thank the board and all of our stakeholders who participated in our third annual Stakeholder Forum. That was another virtual event. I think it went very well. The stakeholder reviews and comments indicated that they thought the content was appropriate, that it was relevant, and certainly are looking forward to being able to do this in person next year, but thought this was a nice replacement for an in-person event. And then let me end with a few personnel updates. As many of you know, this is Ann Simpson's last week with CalPERS. She will be joining Franklin Templeton as its head of global sustainability. Ann's work over the last 13 years has left really just a significant mark on our sustainable investment strategies, which have significantly helped to reduce climate-related financial risks in our own portfolio, really leading some of the TCFD report or creation of that report that we did here in CalPERS. Among so many important accomplishments for her. She's been a strong advocate for corporate governance reforms in our financial markets, really a leader of many critical investor coalitions, including Climate Action 100+, of which CalPERS was a co-founder, and has worked diligently to help create uniform climate reporting standards, including helping with the new Climate Action 100+ benchmark. Her contributions go far beyond her work in our own investment office. She's been an integral part of conversations across the organization that have helped solidify that CalPERS' cultural values in our work with diversity, equity, and inclusion. She was a key contributor to our own creation of the DEI framework. She'll be greatly missed. She'll be greatly missed for her humor. She'll be greatly missed for her intellect, her ability to communicate very complex topics to a wide variety of audiences and get a little bit of a laugh from everyone who she presented to. We're really grateful for her service to CalPERS and wish her well in her new role at Franklin Templeton. James Andrus, who's been a key leader in our sustainable policy work, will serve as the interim managing investment director for board governance and sustainability, and we will do a global recruitment for that position. And then we also have a new addition to the team I wanted to mention. You were all introduced to him at the Risk and Audit Committee meeting yesterday. Kevin Fine joined us earlier as our new Chief Compliance Officer. He comes to us with more than 35 years experience in the financial services industry, working in senior compliance positions for organizations like Citizens Bank and TD Bank. We're using his opportunity as an opportunity, or using his appointment as an opportunity to consolidate some of our integrated assurance programs, including audit, risk, and compliance. But I'd also like to thank Warren Alsiford for serving as the interim Chief Compliance Officer. He and the team just did remarkably well, both under Warren's leadership, but just the amount of work that they have been able to accomplish in an interim role and in overseeing that work is just outstanding. And I wanted to take a quick moment to thank him as well. And so that does conclude my report for this month, and I'm really happy to take any questions.
I don't think I'm seeing any questions, Ms. Frost. Thank you very much.